mode.
Good morning and welcome to Boundless Cybersecurity for the Hyper-Distributed Era, mobilizing for the new business normal. Before we get going, we have a couple housekeeping items that we'd just like to go. Everybody is muted, so there is no background noise. There is a chat window that is available for you to ask a question. I am your moderator this morning, and I will pose the questions to the presenters between slides to ensure that you get your answer. There will also be time at the end of the webinar that you can put your questions into the question area, and we will answer them there or set up a follow-up for you. Please interact with us. Although there is no poll this morning, we do like the questions and like to see what's going on, or if you have any thoughts, so please share them with us. And contact information will be provided at the end of the webinar, so you will be able to get in touch with us at LambTech. And as we always do, we post a link on our website, and we will send a link to the recording so you can review this or view it again or share it with others within your organization. So on that note, good morning, Doug. How are you? And it's all yours.
All right, thank you, Pete. Doing well, and good morning to each of you, and thanks for joining us here today. I am the account manager for LambTech. We welcome you and thank you for your time on today's webinar. Give you a little background about LambTech. We were founded by Robert Lamb in 1999 in Sedalia. Robert still serves as our owner today. We provide managed services for businesses and organizations with our core coverage area stretching between Kansas City to Columbia, and Brunswick and Springfield, but we do service several other states and also regions. LambTech aligns IT solutions with your growth initiatives. Our goal is to take care of your technology so you can focus on your day-to-day business and stop expanding your problems. We offer managed services to maintain your security, which we'll talk about today, help desk support, consulting, and also data recovery and backup services. Another note before I introduce our guest speaker today, for those of you joining us that are current clients of LambTech, we do appreciate your partnership. We do believe you'll learn more about protecting your business and how we assist with that. If you have any questions on what you learned today and how it pertains with your specific agreement, we invite you to reach out after the webinar and talk with our team. And again, that'll be after the webinar today. Some of you who joined us for our webinars in the past, we do appreciate your interest in learning more to improve and enhance your business strategy. The past few months, many of you have been or are even still working from home. This has created an unprecedented explosion of exposure points across enterprises, small businesses, and also even in the government sectors. How do you keep up with the security for this? Well, today we'll learn about the new approach by discussing this with SonicWall today. SonicWall is one of our great partners, and we have Rob Emerson, who is SonicWall's Senior Territory Account Manager, to discuss more about your network security. And without further ado, good morning, Rob. How are you today?
Doing well. Thank you for having us. We appreciate LambTech hosting this for us, and we appreciate everyone who's attending. As you mentioned, I am Rob Emerson with SonicWall. I'm a Territory Account Manager, and I cover Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, and Nebraska. And on the phone with me, I have Hannah McCarthy, and she is one of our inside account managers. So she keeps me straight every day and makes sure I'm doing it right. So she's here as well. And if you have questions and you want to type them in the chat box, Hannah will try to answer them if she can along the way. And if not, we'll talk about them at some pauses in the presentation. So with that, let's get started. So Pete, I don't have control of the slides.
Okay, try it now, Rob. We had two Hannahs logged in, so I must have picked the wrong one. There you go.
Okay, got it. So, you know, the last few months have been pretty interesting for us, right? Whoops, now we're going a little faster. Let me back up here. I don't seem to have control still. Sorry about the difficulties, folks.
Okay, Rob, talk for me 1 minute so I can make sure I got the right one.
Okay, sure. I am on computer audio.
Yeah.
No, I don't even see my name in there anymore. Let's see. Oh, I must be on the one that says Hannah, panelist me.
Yeah. So try it again. Let's see if we got you.
Okay, let's see how this will give me control. Nope. Oh, there, I got it. I think I had it now. See if I can back us up here. Yep, there we go. Okay, very good. Let's start again. Sorry about that. So, you know, the work world is changing, right? I mean, we've had a few months of some pretty upended working and lives and things, you know, post-pandemic. It's going to be a little different. I hear a lot of people talking about when we get back to normal and things like that. And, you know, I'm not sure if we're ever going to get back to normal, right? And I think there is a new normal now. And what is that going to look like, right? How do we get there? And what do we do? The era of anytime and anywhere business is here, it's changing IT, and IT is changing along with it. So there's some business challenges that we present, right? As we expand this distributed IT reality, right? Everyone's working at, or lots of people are working at home, and we don't think that everyone is going to go back to the office as they used to be. We think we're going to see a lot of remote work. We've proved it works now. We've proved productivity is there doing work remote, but it presents some business challenges, right? There's a proliferation of applications and devices. We see evolving legislation and regulations around the world like GDPR. Companies are becoming borderless, right? As we all move out of the office and into remote locations, home or wherever that is, we're seeing lots of that. Pervasive use of cloud and sensors everywhere. And then, you know, this is the new world for us. How do we cope with that? The threat landscape is introducing new and clever attack tactics. If you think about it, we're seeing, you know, all kinds of new attacks out. They're very targeted at people. We now have fileless attacks. We have encrypted attacks. We're seeing phishing out of control and spear phishing. And then we now have new attacks that are really attacking the memory in our devices. They are called side channel attacks, and they are, you may have heard us talk about them a little bit before, but they're a pretty scary type of attack. And then again, we're sending everyone home. Google tells everyone to start working at home. Amazon, we're seeing many of the major IT companies are sending people home, right? That's really the new environment. So what challenges does that bring for us, right? The rush to work from home, our objectives are, I need all employees to have the capability to work from home at the same time. You know, we did some research and it looked like about 20% of typical staff pre-pandemic worked remotely on occasion. So adding the rest of it in poses a capacity challenge, right? We have to be able to scale up and get there. And we want it right now. We need it this week. I need to be able to get everyone out and working. And then how do I maintain data security from uncontrolled endpoint devices? So just sending them home and putting them on a VPN tunnel is part of the security process. But if we don't know what device they're using, if they're using their home computer and it's the same one their kids use and things like that, we need to know how to control that, as well as controlling the network that they're on at their house. So some basic advice from us is, first of all, don't open RDP directly. Please don't do that. It's a very dangerous thing to do. And it's one of the first things hackers start looking at. And we need to start requiring two-factor authentication on everything. If you're not looking at two-factor or you're not already there, that's something you should highly consider. And then you'll see, you know, ransomware actors are working very hard at getting to RDP instances. These are all from news sources and things. So that's a big basic thing to make sure we do. So what else do I have? Immediate challenges. Well, I need my employees to be able to access their desktop. I need RDP for them. How do I manage that? Well, we do RDP via HTML5, which is clientless, or we do an RDP tunnel via a VPN tunnel. I need to access files on open shares. How do I do that? I use SSL VPN or IPsec tunnel. Those are things that we're doing today. Access file shares that are secure or restricted. We want to do a file share application with capture ATP. And then how do I access internal applications? Well, we want to use a tunnel, a VPN tunnel, or do virtual office proxying. These are all challenges that we are all facing. And based on that, you know, as we see it, as we work towards these things, our risk is escalating with explosion of exposure points, right? So now I had a PCs in my building. I could control the environment. I could control the patching. I could control all that. But now all of a sudden we're sending people home and we have devices, a proliferation of devices out there that are on unknown networks, and that presents a challenge for us, right? Explosion is going up. We have more and more security exposure. And on top of that, what we know is the cost of traditional security is going up. We have typically a lack of trained engineers and personnel. In fact, in 2019, there were about 2.9 million open, unfilled IT jobs throughout the world. About 500,000 of those were just in the US. So it's a pretty amazing thing. There's a shortage of personnel, and we know the cost is going up. And because of that, it's creating what we call the boundless cybersecurity gap, because we see IT shops are getting, you know, reduced budget. Budgets are not growing at the same rate as the exposure points and the need, and headcount is not increasing at the same point. So companies are constrained, and it's hard to keep up with the increasing security risk without, you know, additional budget and headcount. So how do we counteract this? My slide seems to be going slow. How do I keep my business operational while mitigating risk? Well, that slide's for me. Okay, we'll just skip on up to that one. But a key question we got to ask is, what's the integrity of our business when everything is open and accessible? Breach is inevitable. Conventional solutions fall short, and increasing scrutiny is the rule. What we need is a shift to a new model, and that's what we want to get to today, is our boundless security model, break free from the economic, technical, and staffing constraints of today. We know there's no silver bullet. We know we have to evolve as we move forward, and we believe that this is a model that can help get you to that. So a strategic imperative shift to a new model has some things that we should talk about. So typically we call it old versus new, and this is what created that gap. Old is slow and manual, takes resources, money, versus a new environment that is always on, learning, catching, knowing the unknown, real-time prevention, and economics that scale, and automation and machine learning. These are all required to make a model that can scale and work in the new environment. So critical success factors, how do we do this? What do we need to do? We talked about conventional versus modern, the components of modern. You have to have layered threat intelligence, the ability to do deep inspection and memory and machine learning. And remember, if we had enough people, if we had more headcount, there's still more threats than you can do it manually. So the shift in the model, we believe the model looks like the following slide, and the platform is called our Boundless Cybersecurity. We believe it's important to know the unknown through real-time identification of unknown evasive threats and blocking them until a verdict is detected, seamless coverage, multi-layer approach to protect all surfaces, a unified view. This is one of the big things. A unified view of risk, including prioritization, control across the whole organization. And then fundamentally, we need new economics that can help us scale our protection, not just procurement, but in the ongoing costs that are required today. Underpinning these four components are the pillars, basically, of our model, which is intelligent automation for reduced human intervention, ease of use, and anywhere, everywhere users' devices and data are, we need to be able to protect that. And then finally, continuous adaptivity so that we're constantly learning and adapting as we are moving forward. So what makes SonicWall different? Well, I think it's these three pillars: know the unknown, unified visibility, and disruptive economics. Let's dig into those a little bit. Know the unknown. We've been talking for a long time. Matter of fact, we've been in business for 28 years. We've been talking about AI and machine learning and how that is effective. And then we have our patent pending real-time deep memory inspection. We see this as one of the basic pillars for us, as knowing the unknown means we have to be able to detect previously unseen or zero-day threats so that we can continue to protect our devices. Today, SonicWall has about 1.1 million sensors phoning home to us across the globe. And we take that information and we put that in our databases, and we use that with our AI and machine learning to find new threats. We also collect data across about 215 countries and territories, and we capture these things in real time. It involves two parts: our threat protection sandboxes, and then our real-time deep memory inspection. Unified visibility. That's our second principle. And what we want is no more silos. We need a single pane of glass for a unified view at the whole enterprise, not just at a firewall, but what about our cloud apps, our endpoints, all of our network devices, everything on the network. And with our new management platform, whether it's in the cloud or on premise, we are providing a view across the platform, a holistic view of what's happening. Real-time, around-the-clock threat awareness reveals vulnerabilities and landscape problems as they happen. We need to understand that as it's happening, and then we provide risk meters to help you understand exposure points and minimize those for your strategy. Disruptive economics. This is one of the most important things. How do we make the economics work, right? Because if we don't have budget, we have reduced headcount, we need to make a system that we can efficiently run and utilize for the journey we're on. So if you have one engineer logging into 4 or 5 manufacturer tools, they have to learn all of those OSs, all of those interfaces, all the support numbers, all the silos, and understand how they interact with each other. If you think about that, when we deliver a single management pane of glass, it's a more cost-effective manner. For example, some of the other things we do, we don't charge for software licensing on a HA device. So if you want to have a highly available firewall for any kind of business continuity, we don't charge for that. We also provide zero-touch deployments on our firewalls now, so you can actually do a zero-touch deployment with the firewall. Visual dashboards that reduce the need for intervention. And then finally, business-friendly continuity with highly available. So how are we doing towards this? I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is a a test result from an organization called NetSec. NetSec was founded in 2017. It's a nonprofit, member-based industry group, so it's not a pay-to-play kind of a place like some of the others out there today. And they ran a test, and you can see we submitted one of our devices, a NSA 4650. Fortinet sent a 500E, Palo sent one of their 3250s, and then Cisco sent a Firepower box, one of their 4120s. These were the actual MSRP price for each of the solutions that were sent, and they went through the test, and we saw, if you look at our performance, we found 100% of private CVE block issues, and we found 99% of public CVE block rates. So if you think about that and look at that, the nearest competitor to us was Palo at 100% on the public, but only at about 94% on the private side, and about 5 times the cost. So we feel like we're doing pretty well there, and we're proud of our results in this test. So what does boundless security look like at a high level view holistically, right? So across the top of this slide, you'll see all the sort of devices. We have email, we have mobile access, cloud access, network security appliances, endpoints, IoT, Wi-Fi, and then down on the bottom, you see sort of all of the things that we have that are threats for us. How do I manage all these? How do I take care of that? Mobile access is a hot thing right now. We're seeing lots of cloud applications today. And then endpoint proliferation right now has gone through the roof. Let's talk about our what we call the secret sauce, or how it works. See if I can get the slide to move up. Okay, so this is how our scanning works. So we're looking at traffic as it's coming in. It's going up to our capture lab. We're looking at it and we're trying to see if it matches anything that we know today. If we find we match something, we just simply block it because we have it in our database, we know it's bad. If we don't know about it, we take it through another process called our advanced threat protection, which you've probably heard us talk about this in the past. Our typical sandbox, we have our sandbox with 3 engines in it, and it works through that. And you can see that on the typical sandbox, we're looking per customer, we're looking at about 1,205 files per day, and we're finding a lot from that. But on the RTDMI engine, we're also getting about 422 files a day. And that's where we are really finding most of the new things we're finding and seeing. So what do we do as we're doing that process with the sandboxes? We do what's called block until verdict. So we hold the file. So the file is not, we don't want to deliver a malicious file and then say, oops, yeah, it was bad. We hold the file while we're doing that test, and then we make a decision whether it's good or bad. If it's a bad file, we will block it. Then we will send the artifacts back to the Capture Lab servers so that they can now add it out to all of our other devices, and we won't have to use the sandbox again. And if the file is good, we'll deliver it on to the user. 80% of all these decisions that go through this sandbox happen in 2 seconds or less. So that's a pretty amazing thing. And then all of this is managed by Capture Security Center, our single pane of glass to help. So how have we really, you know, you guys have seen this slide before if you've been to SonicWall presentations. So what are we doing to make it reality? How do we make boundless cybersecurity a reality? First, we rewrote Sonic OS, so our base operating system, to have excuse me, multi-layer protection and coverage across multiple attack surfaces. For example, one OS runs across all of our hardware platforms. I don't know if you knew this, but all the way from our SOHOs up to our big firewalls, they all run the same OS. We also run that same OS on our virtual machines, our VMware or Hyper-V, and we also run them in the public cloud as well. KVM, Azure, and AWS all run the same OS. So as you can see, by utilizing that same OS across the board, we're making the interface into management unified across all our platforms. So if you can go work on a TZ300, you can go work on one of our super massive firewalls. So where are you on the journey to boundless cybersecurity? It's a journey, and it's a good place to stop and think about it for a minute. Many customers used to be reactive, and they've moved to what we call aware now. So we're aware of it. We have perimeter mentality. We use basic protection on that network. But today we're seeing most are probably proactive. So most people, you know, we're security aware. We have a security group. We've deployed security solutions on the perimeter, and we're trying to do endpoint, but we're drowning in data because we have so many mixed solutions across the board. There's consoles everywhere, logs everywhere. How do we do that? Moving on to boundless is where we really move to data-centric security posture. So since all of our solutions are reporting up into Capture Security Center, we can get unified reporting, which makes finding potential attack vectors easier, and the perimeter is gone, which makes it a tougher way. So moving towards that is a positive thing on the journey to boundless security. So I've covered kind of a lot of stuff so far, and I think it's interesting when you think about security as the whole entire platform. We need to be able to resolve for wherever the apps are, wherever humans work, every kind of threat on every kind of possible endpoint, any network, and any type of business. We think that the cybersecurity, the boundless cybersecurity platform is the path to get there. With that, I'll take questions. Any questions?
Rob, there's one question that asks, what is RDP?
RDP is Remote Desktop Protocol. So it's a protocol that can be used to have one PC control another PC.
And that is currently the only question. Any others to come in? All right. So at that point, I think we'll turn it over and take it over to Doug.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us today, and thanks to Rob Emerson from SonicWall for his expertise. And again, if you're a current client and you want to see what you learned and how it pertains to your agreement, please give us a call. Feel free to reach out after this webinar. If you're wanting to learn more about LambTech and our offerings, you can also call me direct at 660-851-7342. And you can also go onto our website for more information at lambtech.com. Again, we appreciate your time. Thanks, and have a fantastic day.
This concludes our webinar this morning. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Doug, Hannah, and LambTech. And everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.